Thank you, Bruce. So, good morning. Good morning. This is going to be a heck of a morning, I can already tell. I wish I had my shades on. I think that might be good.
Can you turn it up, please? Thank you.
There we go. How's that? Much better? Okay, so good morning. My name is Reverend Laura. I use she, her pronouns. We are a community that draws on the shared values of mindful interdependence, authentic curiosity, and courageous love. So welcome those of you who are joining us online and those of you who are in person. Are we doing any interaction with online or no?
They should be able to contact us via chat.
Okay, so during Joys and Sorrows, I'll instruct you, you'll be able to contact us during chat, but we're not having an open Zoom window TV here at Springbrook. So welcome those of you who are online. Just so you know, in there are restrooms. There's a couple of them, and they're along this wall. So if you need to use a restroom, inside, you need to go inside to get to them. If you go to the outside, they're all locked. Thank you, Polly. Yesterday and coming up on Tuesday, we had a conversation about what our name means. It's kind of like a marketing. That sounds a little businessy to me, but it's a chance to reflect on what Emerging Waters Unitarian Universalist congregation means to you, what some of those words mean to you, what we think our audience is. It was a lovely conversation yesterday, so if you can join us Tuesday at 6 o'clock, it will be on Zoom. There's something about that in the Thursday update, so feel free to look at that. Next week, we are back at the community center. And then, as you'll see on those summer flyers, we will be at Pilgrim House this summer. Part of it is just to make life a little more casual, save a little money, help with tech a little bit. So that's what the plan is for the summer. Just make sure you read that sheet kind of carefully. We have a couple drum circles that will be happening the days after our coffee houses. We're looking at our coffee houses as informal worship as well. So I hope you can join those if you haven't done that in the past. If you have pastoral care needs over the month before Rev Krista comes, we have Chad, our commissioned lay minister. So he is here to help with pastoral care needs. Feel free to contact him. We'll get that into the Thursday update. Reverend Krista starts on August 1st. And she will be at the Emerging Waters Big Backyard Party on August 10th. So hopefully you'll have a chance to meet her then, and then she'll be leading worship in August. I've had an opportunity to talk to her a couple times about the transition, so that's been kind of lovely. If you're new to MSUS, there you go. If you're new to Emerging Waters, just take that blue sheet and feel free to come to any events. There's no membership required for any participation. Joining me in worship today is Chad as the service leader, our commissioned lay minister, Bruce, our director of music ministry. We have on tech, Katie, Byron, and Brian, our fearless team. Lori has contributed these beautiful flowers. As you may have heard, you can sponsor flowers if you have a joy or a sorrow you want to have symbolized during the service, or if you just want to do it for the heck of it, and Lori can help you make that happen. Katie, do you want to talk about after the service, or should I just read what's in the script? Okay, so today after the service, we hope you will stay for a gathering. If you're joining us online now, you can come over to Springbrook until 2 o'clock. Welcome again to today's service. Let's just take a breath together and enjoy being out here in nature. Although this morning will not be easy, I hope it's a time of sanctuary, reflection, connection, and joy.
Yeah, nature will do that. So we light our chalice today at the Springbrook Nature Center and encourage those of you who are online to light one at home. The chalice lighting today is for the Recognition of Ministry by Nick Wilborn. I make no promises about getting through this without a couple of hiccups. We light our chalice this morning in the spirit of gratitude, thankful for years of ministerial service to this church, for celebrations of life and death, dedications and communions, for leading worship, grounding our congregation in spiritual practice, helping us to navigate the wonders and the stresses of this world, make sense of good times and bad. Thank you for being a leader, a comforter, and a friend. Thank you, Laura, for being our minister. And now, please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. We have song sheets that have been distributed. I think most of us probably know the words. And we will have song leaders up at the microphone.
We will go through it 2 times, okay? We're going through it 2 times, and then you will have to wake up because we'll do it as a round. Side 1 will then come in first, and then side 2, side over this area, will come in second. So 2 times through, plain, and 2 times through is a round. So everyone have enough coffee ready. Here we go.
Ours is the caravan of despair.
Yep. Our generational ministry moment is a text from a book called May You Love and Be Loved, Wishes for Your Life by Cleo Wade. I love our faith because we recognize that so many words can be holy words, and so many books can be holy books. When I found this one, I felt like it encompassed so much of what I want to say to you today. Chad and I will read the words from the book, Trading Off. Chad, I want to take a moment to thank you for saying yes to being a commissioned lay minister. As a solo minister, I've so enjoyed working with you and mentoring you and witnessing your ministry unfold. We got to be at ministry days together this week, which was just friggin' awesome, Chad. So I'm wondering if before we read together, if you would give folks an update on where you are in your ministry.
It was friggin' awesome to be at Ministry Days, to be there as a colleague of you and other ministers. There may have been a bit of a snafu in some of my class scheduling, so I'm graduating next April. I may have a class yet next summer. Details getting worked out. But I am a year away. I am starting a ministerial internship at Minnesota Valley down in Bloomington in August probably, and will be there part-time. My hope is that I will continue to serve as a commissioned lay minister here and still preach, hopefully once a month, but Krista and I have been in touch and she is supportive of that, but also recognizes that I've got a lot going on. So we will see. This has been my home church for 20 years now. It is where I found the call, or first really heard the call toward ministry, where you, Laura, pushed me and encouraged me and supported me. And so I want to continue it here in some way, shape, or form. I know some have asked Laura, some have asked me when Laura was leaving, why didn't I step in? And there's a lot of complicated reasons that I didn't. And the decision that I made as I confronted those at the time was, if no one came forward to become our minister, then I would confront all of those difficult questions. And we got the blessing of Reverend Krista, and so I don't have to. So I will be here in a supporting role for her as I have been with Laura, and look forward to having her as a colleague in the near future as well.
Thank you, Chad. So just like Chad and I have many times before read a collage of voices at memorial services of your beloveds, Chad will join me today reading May You Be Loved, Wishes for Your Life. And may all of you here and in person, and online, hear these words as wishes for all of you and for all of us.
May you love and be loved.
May you wonder, wander, and delight in things big and small.
May you live in awe of the moon, in conversations with the ocean, in awe of the stars and the stories they tell.
May you live in awe of this amazing planet spinning in space.
May the sun and her tangerine skies always feel like a miracle.
May you learn from the freedom of wildflowers and know beauty that is born from bravery. May your body be your best friend.
Oh, and dancing. May your body take you dancing.
May you feel the rhythm in your soul.
May there be nights you stay up too late because the music was just too good to go home.
May you try new things, especially food, even if it's just one bite.
May you meet people from different places and treat them as your next door neighbors.
May your experiences change you and allow you to change the world.
May your mind always stay open, and may your mind be weird. Very, very weird.
May your weirdness be your superpower, excite you, and take you on adventures near and far.
May you know fear, but not be driven by it.
May you know joy and follow it everywhere.
May you know light and shine it every chance you get.
May your heart.
May your dreams be constant companions.
May you break the rules that are meant to be broken.
May you take seriously only the things that are serious and lighten up about the rest.
May you be generous. May gratitude surround you like gravity.
May every moment be a gift.
And when the days be long and hard, may your spirit be sweet and strong.
May you be wrapped in tenderness.
And may compassion always find you.
May you release words like thank you and I love you in abundance.
May you forgive and offer words like I'm sorry without hesitation.
May doing the right thing always be worth it.
May you be supported and seen and respected.
And may you provide others with those heavenly shelters.
May always be more, I wonder if I typed that one wrong.
Looks like you might have.
May always be more than a place. Who knows what that is, right? Sometimes one makes mistakes.
May you have hope and faith and love, especially love.
May you never give up on love or think love will ever give up on you.
May you love and be loved.
And more and more and more after that.
Amen.
Amen. So today, on this beautiful day, this weird, hard, sort of challenging day, we arrive as we do every week. We've lived a week of our lives. We have joys and sorrows in our hearts, and part of the promise we make to one another is that we will celebrate each other's joys and hold each other's sorrows. So I am going to start, because it was the summer solstice just a few days ago, if you know that, with a poem by Hafiz, a Persian poet who lived in the 14th century. One day, the sun admitted, I am just a shadow. I wish I could show you the infinite incandescence that has cast my brilliant image. I wish I could show you, when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. So let us share elements of our own being that happened this week. Does anybody have a joy or sorrow you'd like to share? Okay, Janice, do you want to just say it out loud and I can repeat? Oh, here, we got a mic. Check that out. Folks online, if you have a joy or sorrow you'd like to share, please type it in the chat and Katie will read it out.
My name is Janice, she, her, and my great joy is that my daughter turned 44 on Wednesday and she's still alive.
Wow. Woo! Thank you, Janice. Please do as Janice did and introduce yourself before you share.
Hi, I'm Kevin, he, him. Mine is a sorrow. A dear friend in Sacramento died. He was so creative, a green thumb. Crocker never made any money off of him, even though he made lots of cakes. And we were able to show him Minnesota, including one time in the winter, and as an Arizona rat, he did not like it.
May Robert rest in peace.
My name is Sarah, she, her. I am thrilled that our two grandsons, 15-year-old boys from Massachusetts, are here with us for the week. They are off exploring the nature center right now, but when there's time for food, you'll probably see them back here.
I'm Marie, she, her, and our daughter Elizabeth, who has been in LA for 9 years, as of the 27th of June, is moving back. They found a house. They will be moving on July 31st. So she'll be at our party.
Woo!
Yay.
That's awesome.
Hi, I'm Kathy, she, her. My joy is that I continue to serve our larger Unitarian Universalist Association. I have been appointed to the Moderator Search Committee. The moderator acts as the chair of the UUA board, moderates General Assembly, and it's the highest volunteer office in our association.
And I do want to call out Kathy. I don't know, Kathy had like 12 of my colleagues on a text chain that she was informing about, like, it's time to vote, this is what's coming up, it's time to vote, all the way during our General Assembly. So thank you for that gift. I know people were super appreciative about that. I see Kai back there.
Hi, they, them. They're very long, arduous, painful, sometimes sleepless process. My husband Sagan and I have an permit through Section 8 to move into in August 1st is the official date. We might move in a little early, but only because of my winning Social Security disability, having my TMS, and all these other things that have happened at the right time has this been possible.
Thank you, Kai. Katie, is there anyone online? Chad, Katie has something?
Normally I'm hidden from the camera.
Here she is.
Come up here. So I'm Katie. I have a joy coming up this weekend. That is, my mom is coming to visit. She's 92. She doesn't drive, so she hasn't come this direction in a long time. And of course, this could possibly be the last time. But she's staying with my sister in Eau Claire, and then we're gonna coordinate and see her this weekend. She'll get a chance to see my kids and see Dan's new house, and I'm just happy about that.
Thank you, Katie. Let's take a moment to hold all these joys. There were a lot of joys today. And some of you may know that each Christmas prior to our Christmas service, we hold a Blue Christmas service, and that's an opportunity for people to bring the weight of grief that they feel in their hearts as they enter this most joyous season of Christmas. So today I'd really like to hold Kevin in our hearts as we sing the song we sing at that Blue Christmas service, which is Comfort Me. Normally we just sing the first verse at the Blue Christmas service, but today we will sing all the verses. Yep, song leaders can come up and you guys can remain seated. It's sort of a prayer of sorts.
Ministry is All That We Do by Gordon B. McKeeman. Ministry is all that we do together. Ministry is that quality of being in community that affirms human dignity, beckons forth hidden possibilities, invites us into deeper, more constant, reverent relationships, and carries forward our heritage of hope and liberation. Ministry is what we do together as we celebrate triumphs of our human spirit, miracles of birth and life, wonders of devotion and sacrifice. Ministry is what we do together with one another, in terror and torment, in grief, in misery and pain, enabling us in the presence of death to say yes to life. We who minister, speak, and live the best we know with full knowledge that it is never quite enough, and yet are reassured by lostness found, fragments reunited, wounds healed, and joys shared. Ministry is what we all do together.
So, wow, I stalled on this sermon. I seriously stalled. When some of you asked me the past couple of weeks how I was doing, I replied, the wall of denial is strong. But today that wall is crashing down and I feel so many things. Over the past few weeks, I've struggled with what to include in this sermon. I think that was part of my stalling. I didn't know if I should review our history together and report on that, but I didn't want it to be like an annual meeting report. Memories have been surfacing of so many of you and times we have shared, and I wanted to call them out. And then I realized that I don't really have the time to share something about all of you, and I didn't want to miss speaking about one of you, so that didn't sound so good. So I turned to readings and poetry and music to help express some of what is in my heart and to reflect on what you and I and we have done together and have been to one another over the years. You called me to be your minister with a congregational vote on April 24th, 2016. My mom and Linda were with me that day. It was the second Sunday of a very long candidating week. My daily journal starts with unanimous vote, so much sweetness and joy. I was installed on Saturday, October 8th, 2016 in the sanctuary of First Unitarian Society. It was held there because our dear sanctuary wasn't large enough for the affair. I really wanted to have like a big round screen with the image of the Oakley Drive Sanctuary projected from the back that would create sort of this image of being in the sanctuary, but it wasn't feasible. This was the beginning of me learning that you don't always get what you want. So instead, we had these large images. Some of you may remember those hanging in the hallway up on the second floor. Large images of the church and congregants and the choir and kids and families. They created this patchwork of images up on the chancel. You showed up so beautifully, the music and the words and the celebration of shared ministry that had just begun. We barely knew each other. I had no idea. I seriously had no idea what serving a small congregation would be like. I didn't know what it would be like to preach 3 times a month, and what an honor it would be to have this relational pulpit with all of you, an ongoing conversation throughout the years. I tried to think so hard of what the world was calling me to speak to, and how the lens of our faith informed our understanding and my response. My first sermon was about the Black Lives Matters movement. The summer before, in August, before my start in August, Kathy Burek and I had been on the streets of Minneapolis and St. Paul as part of the public witness and outcry that was happening in our cities. Dear Bob Randall died by suicide in early September of that year. And we gathered in a circle and you shared stories of a man I did not know, but you clearly loved so deeply. A few months later, President Trump was elected and we held a tender and thoughtful vigil in the sanctuary, followed by a potluck, shock and fear and grief and disillusionment. a gleaming of hope that our country could rise above the dangerous rhetoric and scapegoating that was part of his campaign. And that was the year we celebrated our 50th anniversary of being a congregation with a series of services that reflected on decades of the life of the church. More followed, as you know. Our home, Minnesota, became the focal point around the murder of George Floyd, and then COVID shifted our world and continues to impact our lives in so many ways. Our pre-COVID life felt so different from today and familiar in terms of the church life I had experienced. We had 2 services. Our first service was small, and our hymns were sung a cappella. How many of you ever went to the 9 o'clock service? Oh, a couple of you. Yep. I sort of had a short list of hymns that I thought could work in terms of, kind of singing without any accompaniment, but every now and then we hit a stinker. Not a person in the room could hit a key or follow the rhythm, and it was at those times I would shout, "Let's just sing Spirit of Life." And we'd break into song. Will you join me?
Talk about doing the ooh or the ah. Do I do it once and then do the ah? Okay. Sing through it once and then ooh second. Okay.
For a Democratic choir, we take a vote on how we do this.
Yeah.
Who is in favor today?
Bruce is not in charge.
Never.
A core of families that was here before I arrived continued to participate. At one point, we had 30 kids in religious education. Kids were lighting chalices and reflecting on stories during services and making us laugh, reminding us of our playful selves during fellowship. Many of the kids from that late elementary, early junior high cohort stayed with us for coming of age and OWL over the past couple of years. I know you guys have missed seeing kids. I've been told, and I remember at one service hearing that you rebuilt a program in the past. And if that is in your future, I hope you can again. And through it all, we welcomed newcomers, we cared for one another, and we imagined ways that we might change the church, not because of what was in the past was not good, but because our faith calls us to evolve, to respond to today's culture and today's world. I remember hearing early on the difference between a large congregation and a small one is that in a large congregation, the leaders make decisions and the congregation generally follows them. In smaller congregations of 100 or less, I have been told that you get 100 opinions, and that leadership doesn't happen on high. It happens all the time in large and small ways. I also remember talking about shared ministry. I was so naive about small congregations, only having preached at some, but always having been affiliated with congregations of 800 plus. I don't know if you guys remember that first annual meeting when I asked those who volunteered over the past year to stand up, and the whole room did. We laughed together as we came to know one another. And we said and we heard hard things. We worked diligently and continue to articulate what we do together and what we aspire to be. Groups of you rewrote the mission and the vision and identified the key words that hang on our banner and that were spoken as we opened the service today. And amidst all the challenges of our times, we created so much joy through music, the coffee house, singing, sharing, serving, eating together, helping one another, knowing we are part of a loving community that is greater than us, grounded in our Unitarian Universalist faith that encourages us to be our best selves. One of the favorite poems that I've read on many occasions, Prayer for Living in Tension by my colleague Joseph Cherry, have been the words that have guided me in my ministry. If we have any hope of transforming the world and changing ourselves, we must be bold enough to step into our discomfort, brave enough to be clumsy there, loving enough to forgive ourselves and others. May we, as people of faith, be granted strength to be so bold, so brave, and so loving. I think I have successfully modeled making mistakes and not knowing and stepping in it on occasion. Even yesterday, as a number of you attended a session on how to talk about our new name, I had to admit that I was responding from a place of crispiness because I was working through something that I had heard at General Assembly. As we notice our discomfort and we move clumsily through life and meetings, may we be loving enough to forgive ourselves and to forgive each other. We need one another in congregations. We need one another to get out our narrow lives and widen the circle of knowing and concern. Congregational life is a radical concept. Join with strangers who may become friends. Be encouraged to grow and challenge your own beliefs. Be encouraged to reflect and share your own spiritual path and beliefs. Ask what love is calling you to do and be at this time in your life and in the world. Love your neighbor, the neighbor sitting next to you, the one that drives you crazy in a small group or a committee meeting or a team meeting. Find ways to ground yourself through specific spiritual practices or by turning those everyday activities and chores into mindful practices. Slow down enough to notice what awe and beauty and mystery bring to your life. Beauty, mystery, and awe abound even in this challenging time. It has been a gift and an honor to contribute to the life of this small and mighty congregation. I am so grateful for your call and our time together. Soon you'll welcome Reverend Krista, who was hired through a process recommended by our Unitarian Universalist Association. So she's hired for a contract minister for 2 years. And unlike the interim minister, Reverend Karen Gustafson, prior to my arrival, you can choose to call Krista and if she and you decide that's the right path. Listen, I know so much has changed, and I know it feels like so much is in flux, but I want you to know that I believe in you and this congregation. You know how to be a faith community. You know how to welcome a stranger and to tend to the needs of one another, how to be out in the world and live your lives being mindful that we are interdependent of one another and the earth, remaining curious about others and yourself, coming from a place of authenticity and pushing yourselves to be courageous in your love. I believe that with all we've been through and done together, it is a ripe time. That was a big P, a ripe time for this congregation. A few things to remember or words of advice: never prioritize church business over relationships. Take time to check in, let the conversation go longer if it needs to, come back to it if that would be best. Don't forget to laugh and have fun together, be joyful. Being joyful is far from frivolous. It is a balm for times such as this, and a way to experience one another with joy-filled hearts. And if you have the capacity to move forward and support the workings of this congregation, please do. When I think about ministry, I realize that during COVID, people were less able to do some stuff, so I kind of picked up some more. In the past, a number of you led programs and book reads, and there's been less of that in the past couple of years. So I hope you can return to that type of programmatic contributions and leadership as well. If there's a short or longer term commitment you're going to make in the years to come, please let Katie or Krista know. It takes a village, truly. And I ask you to do your best to stay present and to work to understand what is true and how Emerging Waters can be part of the current fabric of the northern suburbs and the surrounding areas. Memories, although precious and part of what feeds our soul and brings us joys, memories can get away in the way of living in the present and have us seek to return to what was. I hope you can hold your memories with the sweetness and as they were, and to remember how good they were, and then if they were bad, to consider releasing them. How might you understand what people in this community are seeking, and how might you understand what the people out in the world these days are seeking? What might community partners and other people in the community need that we can assist with? A favorite poet of mine, Andrea Gibson, says, "The only thing I have control over is where I put my attention." So choose wisely where each and all of you put your attention moving forward. One last thing, I know that growth is something that you and we have talked about and you have aimed for a long, long time. Numerical growth. I also returned from my sabbatical recognizing the price of growing in membership numbers, as being the primary goal. If you guys want to grow, the whole congregation needs to be involved. You need to be ambassadors, talking to friends, reaching out to the community, talking up this congregation so it becomes known and people understand what they can find here. Please, please, please don't fall into the belief that bringing a new minister will make this community grow. Rev Krista can't do it alone, just like I could not. There seriously is no magic bullet. Doesn't that just stink? But it's true. So I hope you find a stable home, whatever that might mean. We've been out of the Oakley Drive building since March 15th of 2020. Kind of hard to believe. That was when COVID shut it down. And we said goodbye to the building in February of 22 after selling it to the Turkish American Society of Minnesota. I can't imagine a more delightful group to be occupying that building. I think maybe Alan has said it, but we've spent all but a few months of my ministry working with a relationship with a realtor, looking at many properties, voting on 2, working with architects. That is a lot of energy in organizing. And since then, we've made our way to creating weekly worship at the middle school and then at the community center. Never could I have imagined all that would be in store for us. And it's impossible to know what will come next, no matter how hard we hope, we dream, and we plan. Just know you have something special here, something that endures, something that matters, something that makes a difference in your life and the greater world we all live in. Trust that and continue to move courageously towards your shared future. As the reading earlier said, may love guide you on your journey forward, joy meet you at every turn, and hope be your daily practice. My hope of our shared ministry is that even if you don't remember a word that I said, which is absolutely fine, that you will remember how I made you feel. Words of the song Everything Possible by Fred Small kept popping up in my head this morning. You may know those. It's that the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're gone. I know your love will stay with me, and I hope mine will accompany you in the years ahead. You are a blessing. So join us in singing Answering the Call of Love, and as before, the song leaders will come up. By your spirit, it's a good song to stand for. So I officiated a wedding a few weeks ago. The women were people Linda and I know. Annie, the doctor who delivered our first son, Quentin, and her spouse, Katja, who plays hockey with Linda. They included a beautiful ritual where they passed a spool of ribbon back and forth from front to back through all the aisles. And then the bride's wedding rings were placed on the ribbon, and then they passed by each person in attendance. The bride stood up front and they watched each person touch and explore and bless the rings as they passed. I was entranced. There's so few ways we participate in something this tender and sacred in a communal, meaningful community ritual of support and blessing. And it reminded me kind of the ritual of passing the basket here each week. It's too easy for us as humans to make things habitual, especially when they happen every day or every week. I doubt you stop to bless the baskets as they pass, though you could. Each coin or dollar or bill or check placed in those baskets is one way to bless this church and this congregation. Even if you simply pass the basket, feel free to bless the congregation's financial livelihood and recognize the gift provided by all those who sustain it. The basket will be passed here at Springbrook. If you are here or like to give online or on Zoom, you know how to do it. You find it on our webpage under Donate Now.
Choir. Choir. Choir.
You should have just stayed standing up there. You really should have. Yep. We should have had a chair up there.
So it's been suggested we introduce this piece. Good, we tested that out at that point. This song is called We Will. It's by Anne Reed, and it's a song that we did at Reverend Murray's installation. Just a second. It's a long road we've set our feet upon. A long road we've set our feet upon. And with loving hearts we walk on. Loving hearts walk on. We will walk on. We will walk on. Bridges are built with open hands. Bridges are built with open hands. And we begin to heal the world. We begin to heal the world. We will heal the world. We will heal the world. We will heal the world. When the sun shines through all of us, there on the road, there'll be a rainbow in front of us wherever we go, wherever we go. Take a single flame and pass it on. Take a single flame and pass it on. It's enough to light the way. It's enough to light the way. We will light the way. We will light the way. We will light the way. When the sun shines through all of us, there on the road, a rainbow in front of us, wherever we go, wherever we go. souls. I have literally never done that at a chorus tour. Sorry. Last measure, top line 7.
Okay.
All the souls who came before are standing here. All the souls who came before are hear them whisper low. You can hear. We will walk with you. We
So glad I heard that when I got out of the car, because that was already hard to hear. So thank you, you guys. That was so beautiful. So I close today's service with these words, A Minister's Farewell by Caitlin Kohleberg. They speak my sentiments so beautifully, I couldn't have written them better. Beloveds, may love guide you on your journey forward. Joy meet you at every turn, and hope be your daily practice. May gratitude companion you, compassion embolden you, and open-hearted courage be your unending choice. May peace challenge you, dear ones, generosity empower you, and may you know in every day that you are enough, exactly how you are, and that you are not alone. Blessed be. So, ministry is made up of so many details. Details coupled with the need to pay attention to the undercurrents of the congregation and the nuances of communication and leadership. And I've held these aspects of ministry with staff that has served this congregation during my tenure. And I have so much gratitude for Bruce and Colleen, who remain during this transition and continue to hold their parts and work of this mission. And I've also worked closely and dealt with so many details, guided our vision, and lived tenderly and thoughtfully through times that needed a lot of finesse and courage and kindness. The greatest depth of shared leadership has been with your board presidents. Lori Young was president when I started. Lynn Schumann served next, and then Katie Johnson has led us through the past several years. I can't thank you guys enough for your work and your commitment to this congregation. The board has helped y'all. People join it. They contribute their perspectives and their skills. They do their terms and they move on, which was not always the case when I first started. Discussions are honest and thoughtful and are grounded in our mission and vision. You are in really good hands. So instead of our regular words for extinguishing the chalice, we have our releasing of covenant created by Tess Neubauer and Tess Bonberger and Erica Hewitt. They are on the back of your sheet with the hymns. I've asked Katie to come and join me for this part of the service to lead you in the congregation's part while I join with her. I'm going to see if I can light this for a second. It may not work because it's going to be out. We will see. For 8 years, you have offered me your free pulpit and the freedom of creativity and worship, gifts for which I'm grateful. I hereby return the ministry of worship to your able hands. Use it to speak truth in love to one another, to continue to find reverence and meaning together.
We thank you for your service in the pulpit. We accept its power of freedom for ourselves and release you from your service as worship leader.
For 8 years, you have welcomed me into transitional moments of your lives, times of sorrow and crisis, and also of great joy. It's been my privilege to care for you in times of need. I now return the ministry of pastoral care to your hands. Use it to comfort and celebrate the milestones of your lives with compassion.
We thank you for the pastoral care you have offered us. We accept its power of compassion for ourselves and release you from your role as pastoral caregiver.
From my first day, you have asked me to lead you in works of justice and compassion, inspiring us to build a better world. I return the prophetic ministry to your hands. Use it to take the teachings of Unitarian Universalism beyond our walls into a hurting human family.
We thank you for your prophetic voice. We accept it for ourselves and release you from your service as our leader for peace and justice.
Since my arrival, you've asked me to serve as administrator and professional leader of this congregation. Today, I return the administry to this congregation to you. May you guide yourself with courage and wisdom into a strong and sure future.
We thank you for your professional leadership. We accept its power of vision and knowledge and release you from your call as our professional leader.
The light of our shared ministry will be extinguished today, but our respective ministries will continue separately. Our separate fires will bring light into the world in new and unique ways. I light 2 candles from the chalice, one to symbolize your ministry as a congregation, and the other to represent the ministry that I take with me. I'm going to do it this way. We'll see if that works. Perhaps not. You want to try that one? Why don't you do one for the affirmation and I'll work on the name instead? There we go. With love and gratitude, I release you from our covenant with one another. Go your way in peace, truth, and love.
With love and gratitude, we release you from our covenant with one another. Go your way in peace, truth, and love.
Okay, so the service is almost over. I'm going to say the same as I always do. Remember to check your email and the Thursday update. Chad will be preaching next week at 10:30 at the community center. His service is called Second Verse, same as the first. Katie has a few words.
Hopefully that will work.
Should I sit or stand, or where do you want me?
You can stand. Thank you, Reverend Laura, for today's service and for the somewhere around 300 services of these past 8 years. I pay attention to numbers. Your sermon today was yet another example of the gifts and guidance that you bring to us. And thank you, Chad and Bruce and the choir, for making this a special service as well. How does one sum up 8 years of ministry, 8 years of holding our congregation in tender, loving care, 8 years of nudging us to be, to become, and to try again to be our best selves? I chose as my framework the song We Will by Anne Reid, having had a little advance knowledge. This was sung so beautifully by our installation choir at Reverend Laura's installation as our called minister in October of 2016, and again today. I know that this song holds special meanings of connection between Reverend Laura and our congregation because of that performance at her installation. The song begins, "It's a long road we've set our feet upon, and with loving hearts we walk on." In the interest of greater inclusivity, we might rephrase this to, "It's a long road we've set out upon, and with loving hearts we journey on." We didn't know the exact length of our journey together, nor over what terrain we would travel. Looking back, we see that you accompanied us through all the typical mile markers of congregational life, births and deaths, some deaths at the end of a long life, and some tragic and heartbreaking. Your listening ear and calm presence were truly a gift in these hardest of times. And there were a few weddings and lots of birthdays and anniversaries. With you, we witnessed, celebrated, and supported people coming into the knowledge and expression of their whole selves. In our traveling caravan, we often shared joyful music and tasty food. We joined together in service to the community beyond our walls and to help each other through challenging times. And of course, as the manager of staff, you ensured that the day-to-day business just happened. For added excitement, we searched for a new building, eventually taking a leap of faith to sell our building without yet having a new one, and even now we're still yearning for and seeking that new home. And just recently, another leap of faith that taking on a new name will be part of finding new expressions of the kindness and care that are hallmarks of this congregation. Oh, do you remember that one time that we traveled through a pandemic? The kind of storm that upended everything we thought of as normal in every realm of our lives? That was a doozy. More than once, Reverend Laura, you have recounted a former colleague who talked about showing grace and mercy toward each other. Clearly, you took that mantra to heart as you have traveled this winding road with us, demonstrating and encouraging grace as we travel, nurturing a spirit of curiosity rather than fear as we faced momentous decisions, and always proceeding with an open and loving heart. Bridges are built with open hands. We begin to heal the world. Building bridges, building connections to create community. You regularly acknowledge that this can be hard and messy work, but it is valuable work. You and Anna reminded us a few weeks ago that sometimes we even have to tear things apart and recreate them in a different way. Your confidence in the power of generosity and living life wholeheartedly came to life in this congregation as we reflected on and updated our mission, values, and end statements during your time with us. Our thoughtful consideration of who we are and who we want to be revealed that the values of mindful interdependence, authentic curiosity, and courageous love held particular meaning for our congregation. We explicitly name our aspiration toward being a community of all ages, and our end statements speak of generosity and radical hospitality. Having proclaimed these values, you helped us to intentionally lean into them to build, sustain, and even repair, when that is needed, the bridges that connect us. You made sure that we remember how we are connected to Unitarian Universalism as a whole. You have consistently reminded us to infuse our biggest decisions with a deepening understanding of the wide and welcoming reach of hospitality. In this spirit of widening the circle, we will continue to build bridges with the open hands of generosity. We will work for a flourishing world. Take a single flame and pass it on. It's enough to light the way. This idea of shared ministry that so enlivens you has deep roots here and creates a richness within our congregation. Through your invitation and encouragement, I have witnessed countless tiny flickers grow to flames that light up this congregation, including within myself. Through sharing stories of your own growth, through sharing how spiritual practices sustain you, by providing opportunities for education and deep conversation with each other, you have encouraged us in our personal and spiritual growth. You have nourished our ability to develop and share our unique gifts, whether through leadership, through music, as storytellers, or with our reflections in Sunday services or small groups. Your example has helped us to notice and nourish the things that keep us well and whole. I'm recalling one visual that we created in your first year with us. There was a poster board with a chalice on it, and people added paper flames, writing on each flame a way in which they volunteered within our congregation or beyond our walls. Flames representing something like 4,000 hours of service were soon overflowing the chalice. There is so much light in this congregation, and your presence among us has kindled new flames to keep our chalice burning even after you are gone. We will continue to light the way for each other and the world around us. All the souls before are standing here. You can hear them go, we will walk with you. I was not here for the first 44 years of this congregation, so I hear the whispers of those who came before as stories of those earlier years. The stories include the strong connection to the Fridley community, including to Springbrook Nature Center, where we are gathering today. They include moving an entire building from one location to another, so that building conversation did not start when you came.
I know this is true.
And later adding on to and rearranging the building like a set of Legos. The congregation moved from all volunteer to hiring a director of religious education and other staff, from a completely lay-led congregation to hiring ministerial interns and then a part-time minister. In my time, there were more and different conversations about our building and about purchasing adjacent land. I was part of the vote 8 years ago to call Reverend Laura as our minister. Since then, we revised our mission and named congregational values. We responded to a pandemic, made more decisions about buildings, and we most recently decided to give ourselves a new name. Each of these decisions, each of these changes set the stage for the next decision and the next decision, transforming us into who we are today. And with every decision, with every change, the whispers of that time became woven into the fabric of this congregation, shaping what comes next. Now, Reverend Laura, your whispers will be part of all that comes next. For people who join in the future, you will whisper through our stories of our time together. Though most times I suspect your whispers will be the hidden kind, influencing our future because you are now woven into the fabric of our congregation. Yes, we'll soon be traveling on different paths, yet you will be walking with us and whispering to us because your presence among us has changed us as individuals and as a congregation. The impact of relationship is, of course, not just one direction. We will be walking with you and with you for the same reason, because we have also changed you. I am confident that the richness of our time together will send whispers of boldness and courage, of care and comfort, of goodness and love into our futures. And the chorus of that song, when the sun shines through all of us, there on the road will be a rainbow in front of us wherever we go. May joy and gratitude be the legacy of our time together. Thank you. I got to stick this way. I should have had you stand there. Thank you for sharing these past 8 years with us, and we have a few parting gifts.
Oh my, okay. I'm gonna put this little iPad down there. Oh my goodness.
I'm not going to try to go, I don't think, through everything that's in the other. There's a tiny little pile over there of other things. These are things that the planning team gathered together. We ended up on a kind of a gardening theme, so a lot of what you'll find in here is related to that. Some gardening gloves so that you can ground yourself in the dirt. You have been offered to select from some plants from people's gardens, and this has some plant markers so that you can make note of where they came from. There's a gift certificate to a garden store, which I don't remember, so that you can select something that works in your garden that maybe Reggie won't destroy. And there is a delightful coffee mug in there with, I think, some coffee and tea. A lovely handcrafted box from Kai that he just dropped off
With soap that they
with
put in there.
soap in there. We have also kind of in progress a scrapbook in which we're trying to collect memories from everybody, photos and memories. You can work on that today. And I think that's all.
Super. Up to you, my dear. Thank you. So we're going to close, as we usually do. Please participate in the way that feels comfortable to you. We will make a circle, hold hands if you want. If you prefer to not, just step back a little bit or do whatever feels comfortable. And we'll sing Go Now in Peace. Folks online, please join us if you'd like.
And then after that, we have refreshments here, and if you're joining us online, feel free to come over to Springbrook later today and join in our party here.